The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show. This is The West Stand, our new show that debuted for this season. It's out on a Monday and a Friday that you can find on YouTube. It's in your podcast app. Guests from across the world of Leeds United. My name's Dan Moylan, and with me is Michael Normanton.
Hello.
Are you ready to get some performance anxiety now?
Why? Because there are people watching us do this.
Not just one person, but two.
Go on then.
NordVPN.
Correct, yes.
Just to bat the ball over the net to you.
Great
there.
bunch of lads.
Yep.
Yes. We used them the other night, didn't we?
We did, to watch the Coventry game, which was full of entertainment.
Was it Germany we were in?
Believe so, yes.
Yes. Frankfurt.
Correct. Yes, because you can watch sporting events from places where you're not, or you're not supposed to. Is that the most diplomatic way of addressing it, I think?
I think people know about these things, don't they?
Yeah, the fastest VPN in the world. You can protect your data while you're on the move as well, whether it's traveling or using public Wi-Fi, wherever you are in the world. And there's the NordVPN threat protection feature, which means you protect from viruses, malware, phishing, that sort of thing. Premium cybersecurity, low cost. Do you know what sort of a cost it is?
Tell me.
It's the price of a cup of coffee per month.
Like a shop bought one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I don't do that.
And you can use 10 devices. Fastest VPN in the world, as I mentioned, nordvpn.com/TSB. Let's welcome our guests then now. And I say guests, it's plural, from the Yorkshire Evening Post, Graham Smyth and Joe Donnohue. Two of you in shot, if you're watching the video version. All sorts of magic wizardry has had to go on with the cameras for this, so welcome to the show, gents.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to raise the entertainment levels a little bit higher than we saw at Ellen Road. Today we're recording this straight after the game. It's just after 4 o'clock, so excitingly the Sheffield United game is ongoing at the minute. That and the Sunderland game, we were saying on the match ball, probably providing more entertainment and more intrigue for Leeds fans than what happened against Millwall. However, you have just come out of the press conference. What was the mood like in there?
As expected, Farke never gets too high and he's never too down. And he was quite keen to move on fairly swiftly, I think, from that. You knew as soon as he made 10 changes that he would reference making 10 changes in the press conference. And he did. Difficult for the players to have fluidity, difficult for players to shine when they're coming into a team with so many changes. And he congratulated Millwall as well. As quite gracious towards Millwall for how they played and defended. But he wasn't too... he didn't go in like Joshua Giavogi with a straight leg on anyone.
Just poor timing. He's a bit rusty.
What did you make of his performance today?
Joe?
Giavogi. I mean, he's trying his best, is what I'd say diplomatically. Yeah, I think rusty. I think overzealous is how I described the tackle. That obviously almost got him sent off, or might have got him sent off if VAR was enforced. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where he played that Harrogate game, and that was kind of the first time that anyone's really had a look at him, or a good look at him over 90 minutes. And you thought, oh, right.
I was going to say, if you could embody him in a noise, it's kind of a, oh.
Oh, yeah. And it's not always a good, oh, is it?
No.
It's sometimes, yeah. Mr. Motivator is kind of how I've endearingly described him.
Yeah. Best left to vibes rather than football field. Probably the last we will see of him in any meaningful sense this season, because we're now out of the cup, sadly.
I think he'll make appearances late in games to safeguard clean sheets or tight scorelines. I think as a player you want to bring on and win headers or make blocks on the edge of the box. Absolutely fine. I just don't think you really want him pulling the strings in possession, because I think that's where he kind of got himself into some difficulties against Millwall. And the challenge, there's other players that would make that challenge. You'd think, oh, you are one nasty, horrible. But actually, you know, he's straight over to apologise, and you think he's really not actually meant to do that. He's just been over-motivated, was how Daniel Farke described it.
At worst, an orange card, and you knock it down from being a red on nice guy principles, which need introducing into VAR, I think.
I would say so, yeah.
Like
that's why Bruno Fernandes would start on a yellow,
yeah,
for example.
It's the bastard clause, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. You start on a yellow. But yeah, I mean, it felt
he was
like,
quite wardrobe-y, wasn't he, in midfield?
It felt like just a bit of a footnote, though, for a game that nobody was really asked about. We gave a collective sigh. It felt like there was a collective sigh in the stadium today. Did you feel that reflected in the press box?
Yeah, maybe. I'm a bit disappointed. I thought this was a bit of an opportunity for Leeds. Very winnable game. You know, how often have we said recently, look at the bench, like that bench would start in loads of other championship teams, and the bench and the bench started today, but they didn't play like they could start in a lot of other championship teams. But it's not like you can't really call it a weakened team when you're bringing Ampadu stays in, Stroik comes in, Rothwell comes in, Gnonto and Ramazani come in. Byram comes in. Those are players who've played a lot of football this season. It's not like they're strangers to one another, and it's not like they're fringe players. So I expected a bit more from Leeds, and I thought the FA Cup was a good chance to keep these players sharp, keep players like Matteo Joseph, Gnonto Ramazani a bit happier because they're not getting the game time that they'd want right now. And I think exiting at the hands of Millwall at Elland Road is disappointing, to say the least.
Well, it's fine, isn't it? But I think they would probably start for a lot of other teams, but the fact that all of them have been bench and not accumulated many minutes felt significant to me today, Joe. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, 10 changes is what Farke said. You make 10 changes to any side, you're going to lose any semblance of rhythm that you had previously. I mean, what was it? 14 games unbeaten, 14 goals without reply. I mean, it was always going to be an ask, but even still, I think I share Graham's point. You know, you do have a lot of individual quality there. On a different timeline, you've got Gnonto and Ramazani being the first choice wingers over Dan James and Mana Solomon. I think the concern that I have is that, and it's not too great a concern, it would be that, you know, does it maybe just put a pin in sort of the spirit or the momentum that team have developed over the past 14, 15 games? It shouldn't, because it's the cup and everybody knows it's kind of a secondary competition nowadays. But yeah, I just wonder.
I was saying on the match ball, you know, actually, if we go out the cup, which we did today, don't know if you spotted that, if we go out the cup, but the other results go in our favour, we've already seen Watford doing as a favourite at Sunderland, and if, you know, Selma, Hail Marys and all that, but if Sheffield United don't beat Portsmouth, it's been a great week. To get that win at Coventry and then have your calendar freed up a little bit, I'm coming out of it thinking, do you know what, it's been a pretty good weekend, all things considered.
We were saying this, but I don't feel like it's too damaging for morale, because it was... I was saying, if you make 4 or 5 changes and you go out, it feels more like it could damage morale. But because there's so many changes, it felt kind of like we were throwing it in. And I guess you do hope that some players essentially present a case for why they should be starting, and probably none of them did. But equally, we just go back to the other team, don't we, for Tuesday night? I
mean, you can't silo it. You can just say it's a different... I mean, that's what Farke said. It's not a normal game, is what he said in the press conference. At the same time, in a game like that, you still want certain standards, and like you want your captain to play really well for a start. And if other youngsters are struggling, you want him to provide the response. But I thought Ampadu was really poor, and I thought he had too much of a say in the Millwall goals than you would like for a player of his caliber, and a few others as well. But you can't just chalk it up to a one-off. But as long as you then go to Watford on Tuesday night and return to normal, and show that it was just a one-off and it was just an aberration, then all is fine and everyone moves on and all's forgiven.
Surely it's justified. If you turn up a good performance at Watford on Tuesday, is it not justified making the changes because you've got fresher legs? Because they will have given their everything today at Sunderland.
I think he had to make the changes anyway. I don't think there's anything for Farke to be apologising for making those changes. That's not really where I'd put the blame, because his job is to get Leeds United promoted this season. That's the be-all and end-all. That's the only thing that matters. It was more on players to shine. You know, like Matteo Joseph, this was a real opportunity for him. He scored a goal last weekend. He's not had much game time. It's been a really frustrating period for him, and that just continued. I would have liked to have seen the story change a little bit for him today. Gnonto and Ramazani too, would have been nice to see them put a bit more pressure on the starting wingers.
Do you put it down to the individuals though, or is it just a collective failing because nobody was really asked? I don't know. What do you think?
It all plays in together, doesn't it? Like, if one or two individuals don't play that well, then the collective doesn't play that well. But you can still do your job properly. You can still affect your direct opponent. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, like Graham saying, it would have been nice to see them do well individually, but ultimately, you could look at Ramazani. Yes, he had a few good runs through the middle, but he kind of flitted in and out of the game, which he has tended to do. A few good shots, and again, I find it. What was it that Bielsa used to say? Like, I don't really put too much focus on a cup game or something, or this game in particular, or this topic. It might be Farke actually. You don't want to overinterpretate this issue. I really don't want to delve into the which is great that I've come on the podcast when I don't want to delve into it into sort of like a cup defeat that ultimately will be sort of condemned to the annals of Leeds United history. Already has been. I just think, it was a missed opportunity for a lot of individuals, but they'll get the chance to
to come on and score goals. But I think, if anything, what today showed was that this team does have a first 11, and that is the first 11 for the remaining 15 league games.
Mind you, it wasn't always the case earlier in the season where you felt maybe Farke didn't quite have a handle on who he would pick first. And now, like you say, I think it's cemented itself now.
The team has been shaped almost by the season, by what happened with Ampadu and Gruev. That shaped the midfield for a while, and it allowed Tanaka to come in and really show everyone what he was, and to let Rothwell show what he was. I always wonder how much of either of them we'd have seen had Ampadu and Gruev stayed fit, and where Leeds might be because of that. But I think, one or two changes is probably fine for the rest of the season, but wholesale changes would maybe be a wee bit concerning.
I mean, that's it. We could still have won the game. The Millwall goals were not particularly well worked, were they? It was a massive deflection. A shot Darlow should probably have saved. We've missed a penalty. Their keeper's made a number of pretty decent saves.
Yeah, the keeper was great.
So it's not a proper defeat.
It's not a disaster.
Are we chalking this up to one of our moral victories?
We should still be in the hat, if you ask me.
Is it one of my moral victories?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. What of the injuries? One or two were touched on in the press conference. That again, that's the most significant thing with one eye on Tuesday, surely.
Yeah. So Joe Rodon and Dan James missed the game with knocks that they picked up at Coventry. I would be stunned if neither started the game at Watford. They were still reporting some pain on Friday. For Rodon, that probably means he's got a sore head, because he's just probably permanently got a sore head. Max Vober, Farke didn't really touch on that, but again, would you be surprised if it was, the knee that's been plaguing him all season? It just hasn't let him get going at all.
But very peripheral, though. Let's say it's Dan James you want of anybody, I think.
Well, I don't know.
And
Rodon, Rodon for me has probably been the best player of the last 3-4 weeks. He's been incredible, just in real purple patch of form. Not only what he does defending wise, but what he does on the ball has been superb.
Yeah.
Coventry choosing to defend on the halfway line helped him the other day, because he just did the same thing over and over again. Then just ran forward a bit, chipped it over the top. So then we missed a chance.
Assuming everybody is back for Tuesday, what would you do in terms of lineup?
You go back to the
exactly
same 11 at Coventry.
You go unchanged from Coventry if you can.
Yeah.
I think Rothwell starting today probably indicates it's Gruev.
Yeah,
and Gruev not coming on today.
Yeah, I think that's.
Or would you not actually, in saying that, now that Pascal's got that 90 minutes under his belt, I'm going to change my answer completely and say that Pascal plays next to Rodon and Ampadu plays next to Tanaka.
Interesting. You could see a case for it either way, couldn't you? But do you think we go for whichever one of them it is, go for a slightly more robust midfield, less forward thinking, rather than your Tanaka Rothwell? Because Rothwell played today, he's not going to play. You imagine? I
don't know that we'll see Tanaka Rothwell play that often between now and the end of the season.
Particularly away from home, that's where Leeds haven't got results away with that double pivot of Tanaka Rothwell. Whereas when you've had maybe a bit more of an anchor in there, that's when Leeds have been able to dominate possession a bit more. They've been able to create chances from deep positions and allow the fullbacks to bomb on a bit more, which has been, as Coventry was the other night, it's a real avenue for getting goals. Yeah, we've got away games at Sheffield United. We've got Portsmouth to come, which has been moved to lunchtime, which is just champion, isn't it? Was the opening game of the season, that was 12:30, wasn't it? Have I misremembered that?
I think you're right. I think it was an early kickoff.
There should really just be some rules put in place for this, shouldn't there? If above a certain distance, you're not allowed to kick off at certain times. Well, they've actually seem to make sense.
The iFollow replacement, the thing Sky Sports Red Button that they're doing is they put the midweek fixtures, the long distance ones, deliberately midweek because it's on telly. So it's with a view to the televiewing fan rather than the
almost as if
fan.
Match going fans aren't that important.
You think so? You think there's like the way football's going, Graham? It's a big call.
Big hot take that. But they had a meeting, didn't they, to talk about this fixture, and either no one in the meeting said, "Oh, it's a bit hard for Leeds fans to get there for that," or they all thought it and kind of looked at each other and just moved on. But nobody clearly is advocating for match going fans at the minute.
Yeah, I would go as far as to describe a noon kickoff at Portsmouth as bollocks. I don't know about you.
Correct. People should. The truth is, things won't change until people just don't go. But we're a long way from that, particularly as a promotion run-in. Leeds having a huge away following. We're basically guaranteed to sell it.
You're a captive market. Leeds fans want to be there, and Leeds fans travel in huge numbers. And even if northern-based Leeds fans didn't go, southern-based Leeds fans would fill that allocation easily.
Yeah, the other away games that followed that one, we got to go to QPR, we got to go to Luton, then Middlesbrough, Oxford, and then Plymouth to round out the season. Yeah, you can't imagine we play a particularly attacking midfield in any of those games. Maybe the last one, maybe at Oxford, if Oxford are struggling, you can maybe go more on the front foot, but do you feel like he's going to be a little bit more conservative?
I think he loves control. He's a control freak, isn't he?
Yeah.
He just wants to dominate the ball constantly and take away any opportunity for the opponent to counter-attack. He wants to control them even when Leeds have the ball. So he described himself as a realistic pessimist, and that's how I think he'll line up.
Still 1-1 between Sheffield United and Portsmouth. It's exciting, isn't it? By the time this comes out, we'll all know what will have happened. And they'll be going, you fools. Oh, guess what's coming next? But that'd be a hell of a sequence of results, wouldn't it? After having got the Coventry game out of the way early. Because when we were saying on the match ball, weren't we, actually, looking down the schedule, there are very few midweeks left to accommodate any rearranged fixtures. So going out of the cup, blessing in disguise. It's what we wanted, Graham.
There's only you're the most upset about this.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying when we were coming in, you were like, why didn't Pascal just take a proper penalty? Like, why did he have to get it saved onto the post? If Pascal had scored that, we'd have still been there right now, because it probably would have been 2-2. It would have been a revival, and then Leeds would have lost on penalties.
Yeah, my dad was saying to me, he was like, we don't want this to go to extra time.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. When he missed that penalty, I was like, sit the subs down.
Yeah. Extra time would have been difficult. But I don't know, maybe I just think in Premier League away.
You're an idealist, Graham.
A little bit of a taste of next season in the Pressford that we're afforded.
Got to get there first.
That's all you want.
Well,
sometimes
just pay for a meal out.
Says you, mate.
Well, all right, yeah.
The old voucher king. I looked at the. Did you see the Premier League prize money was revealed this week?
Yes, yeah.
And that is quite an eye opener. Because obviously the parachute payments diminish significantly if you stay down this season. They drop to 20% of the central distributions. And so first year down, you get 55, second year is 45, third year is 20. So from a Leeds perspective, the equal share between all the clubs for, is it this season or the last season, whichever one, since we've been out of the Premier League, 87 million quid. So we got nearly 48 year one. This season, we go down to 39. And then next season, if we stay down, we'll drop to 17 and a half. So you just need to go up, because otherwise you're absorbing another £30 million worth of revenue drop. I think that's a good case for not giving a fuck about the FA Cup, quite frankly.
But don't you get
but that's the
20,000 for winning in the FA Cup?
Yeah, a tenner, a gift voucher for WH Smith's. Yeah. So the business case, as unromantic as it is right there. And as we were saying, because we were talking about this with Tony DeRigo, and he was kind of doing the same sort of thing, but we were saying, just not asked if we go out of the cup, it's absolutely fine. And he was kind of going at it from come on, lads.
The problem is the grim reality of it as well is that
we sell everyone, don't we?
You get through this round, but then eventually you'll play a top half Premier League team and you lose anyway. Even if you play your strongest team. I
mean, Farke even said that, didn't he, in the pre-game press conference? He said it's not realistic that we'll win the FA Cup this season. And I nearly stormed out at that point. I thought, how dare you?
Did you have to hold him back?
No, I've learned that lesson the hard way. He's bitten back.
But I don't know, maybe it's just me. I reacted quite violently earlier when I heard Paddy Keelty read out on his radio show a text from a Burnley fan that said, we're going to Southampton hoping to see another clean sheet.
Come on, that's got to be tongue-in-cheek, surely.
Is that what gets you up in the morning?
We're going to the football. We'd like to see no goals, please.
No goals, please.
Yeah. Whereas we're just all about entertainment now. The entertainers, aren't we?
Very much so.
The great entertainers.
We've seen that.
Or at least see a big Frenchman assault someone.
It is probably worth going back to the midweek game. And it is currently still 0-0, by the way, Burnley and Southampton, so it's right on brand. That Coventry game, obviously we've not spoken since then, but I mean, like, what the what? How did we miss so many chances? How did that not end up 7 again?
I said to Joe coming out of the stadium, we could have quite literally been writing about consecutive 7-0 victories in the Championship, which, against a Cardiff who were unbeaten in 8, against a Coventry who'd won 4 on the spin beforehand, and Leeds were incredible.
It was men against boys, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the high line definitely helped.
Yeah.
Because every time they wanted to go over the top, Pirro was playing on the shoulder. Aronson was just chasing down lost causes and then messing up the final ball. Solomon I thought was great in that game. It's almost like the coach in the opposite dugout maybe didn't really know how to set his team up against Leeds.
I mean, no offence, lads, but I feel like Joe knows about football more than us three. Is that
What?
Is that fair?
I'm not sure I can. It's not sure that's my topic.
No.
Can we edit that bit out?
No. In all states, I was just going to say, what can we expect from Watford, actually, with that in mind on Tuesday? Because my immediate thought was, how are they going to play? Because they caused us a few problems, I thought, earlier this season. They were one of the more attacking and disruptive teams at Ellen Road.
Yeah, what are you expecting?
I think Quadwell Barr, who was quite good for them at Ellen Road, I think he's injured. He's the one who, was it the Sheffield Wednesday fans that he goaded with his celebration? It was like a game celebration, like the kids play.
Oh, yes, he did a fortnight celebration. He did the take the L dance.
Oh, with the gritty stuff. Yeah. I've got
he's
children.
injured, and he scored at Ellen Road.
Right.
So there's nothing to worry about whatsoever.
Not allowed to do seagull celebrations anymore either. They've been outlawed, haven't they?
It probably says a lot about the game today. There was a bird of prey hovering above the ground for a bit of it, and I was watching that for some for a period.
Did you wish it would swoop down and carry you away?
I was thinking, that's probably a red kite. That's nice, isn't it?
Did you think of the red kite sponsors?
Oh, of course, yeah. Happy days.
Yeah.
Watford, the game at Ellen Road, they basically gifted us 2 goals, didn't they? The keeper just gave us a 2-goal lead, which was kind
what
of.
happened? I've forgotten.
Ramazani got injured. He got an ankle injury.
That was the one down
and
the east, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was on fire when that happened, and that almost, it's a sliding doors moment really, because it's opened the door for Solomon in a big way, and he's gone on and just nailed down that position completely.
Yeah, he scored. It was the shot that he just took. It was a pot shot from probably like 25 yards, and the goalkeeper just palms it into the net, and then the other one that's across from the right, and he palms it out to Aronson, I think it was.
Yeah.
See, he knows about football. I forgot about all this. Now you said about Ramazani getting injured, I can remember that, because it happened right in front of me, and he got a right wallop in that tackle.
Nutmegged someone and got walloped.
Yeah.
That's what I seem to remember.
Bit of payback. But yeah, they were
quite big, quite robust.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a team like that is particularly well equipped, famous last words, to deal with Leeds United playing the way Leeds United have been playing in the league.
But is there a chance, do you think, maybe they are a little bit more expansive or open against us, or will they adjust their game to try and contain us again? Because it's the eternal question with Leeds this season.
Will they set up cleverly is the question, Joe.
Ah, yes. There you go. See, here he is with the zingers.
Yeah, it feels like we just witnessed a private moment there between you from your podcast.
A roll of the eyes, just like, he's trying to dominate the conversation with humour again and wordplay instead of actual analysis.
Joe, can you come back more often?
Yes, I can. No, they've got Chak Vitadze at number 10. He's pretty good. He drifts about and dribbles past people. They've got Vakun Bayo up front. He's quite good. But then again, is he better than what Leeds have got? Not really. So how good can he be?
Your number 10 Georgian lad, who I can't pronounce. Yeah. What's his name?
Chak Vitadze.
That's the one. I noticed him at Ellen Road, and there was a little bit of noise around him around the closing of the window because we were in for number 10.
Chance creation machine.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of good things happen.
It's funny because the reason it stuck in my mind was there were 3 fairly beefy Georgian gentlemen who came and sat close by me in the East Stand. Like, I think it's close to the family section. I thought, what you 3 fellas doing there? And I didn't clock until I realised who was playing for the opposition. You're here to see your fellow countrymen undercover, running deep cover.
So you didn't boo him or give him any abuse?
No, they could have easily taken me. Maybe all 3 of them. I might have had a chance with one.
If you had any guts at all, you'd have gone windmilling into them.
Right. In the family.
That's what I'd have done, but I didn't see him.
Yeah, throwing women and children in front of you in the family stand. But no, yeah, he's handy. But you wonder, hopefully they might leave us a little bit of space to play in. And it's the teams that seem to do that in midfield where we make hay.
Anyone who gives Leeds the chance to counter-attack is a fool.
Right.
Because this Leeds team is perfectly set up to kill you in transition.
Then
just
again,
so quick.
There are always the teams that do sit deep, and Bogle still finds a ball into John James, sort of between the centre half and the fullback on his side. It's almost like you just can't stop him. He's going to run. He's going to get the ball to the byline. He's going to cut it back. Just got to hope that Piru or Aronson or someone's there to actually finish the chances. And hopefully, all the chances missed at Coventry means that the law of averages states that they'll actually put them in.
The score 7.
Yeah.
Well, ask Tony DeRigo this question on Friday. See what you two think about, have we found a better way to deal with teams that sit deeper this season compared to last season?
I think the difference this season is that Leeds are more balanced in an attacking sense. I think the reliance isn't on giving the ball to Georgie and saying, go on, do something magic, or giving it to Cree and say, cut in and curl one for the far corner, because the right-hand side is so dynamic now in an offensive sense. The Bogle overlapping and underlapping James and popping up in the box with goals and assists. It just feels like even if you got a handle on what Leeds United were doing in the number 10 position, you need to be focusing your attention both left and right at the same time. There's just too many threats. I don't know what you think.
No, I agree with you. I think you look at the spread of goals and assists across the team. You got 4 players, I think, on 10 or more goal contributions. I'm probably underplaying it. There's a few on 15. Dan James and Piru, I think, are 2 of them. Solomon's not far off that. And then you've also got Firpo's got 6 assists, I think. I know 3 came against that abject Cardiff team, but
They all count.
He's been, and they were all assists as well, rather than just passing the ball on the halfway line and then Georgie goes and dribbles through half the team. Bogle's been good on the other side. So, I think the balance of the division of labour, we can say, in this Leeds team is actually quite...
It's a better offensive team with probably slightly less individual brilliance.
Yeah.
Archie Gray was holding us back.
You think?
But,
It's a big call.
When I think it was to you guys that Angus Kinnear said they felt they got a right back who could offer them more than Archie did in an offensive sense. And that felt like that could come back to bite you, those comments. But
Kinnear would never do anything like that.
But Bogle has absolutely proved him spot on, because Archie obviously has a far higher ceiling as a football player, but as an offensive right back, Jayden Bogle's exactly what you need in this division.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely I tend to agree with that. Yeah, they've spread the load, I think, perhaps better than last season. And it felt a little bit like, and I think in particular too, the playoff final at Wembley, by that point, teams knew how to defend against Somerville better as well. That he had very little impact in that game.
And if he didn't, and if you kicked Georgie enough times, then you probably got a handle on Leeds United.
Sheffield United are winning. 20 minutes to go. 2-1.
Ruined it.
Great.
Day over.
An inevitability.
Oh, there we go. Should we sign the show off on that? Just go and be sad again. It's fine, isn't it, though? Because we've opened up that gap on Sunderland a little bit more. So it'll all be fine. Let's get together and do this again. It's good fun. Thanks for coming in, gents.
Cheers. Thanks for having us.
See you soon.
The Square Ball Podcast.